How are we all doing? Morning, Christian, JC, Ian, Andres, Dion, Peter, Danny, Martin, Gregors, Virginia, Marion. Morning. Do you see the market trends in crystal balls? Yes, I do. This is the one that I use most of the time. Morning, Daniel. Morning, Tom. Uni exams have finished. Blimey. Good luck. Morning, Agosa. Right. So, Aussie dollar news overnight. Rate came out as expected. As I suspected, the Aussie dollar dropped, which is typically what we get on expected rate announcements now. So, down for the Aussie this morning. So far, we haven't really hit... we've hit ADR on actually, we have saying that. When I looked this morning, it wasn't quite as bad as that. I didn't think it was, but I probably didn't look at the euro or the pound. So yeah, Aussie has hit a few ADRs, as you can see. The only reason I say that is because I was looking at the ones that I was in, which was the Aussie CAD on the Aussie US, and they haven't hit ADR. So Aussie CAD, I'm down back at break even on that at the moment. Obviously, I've got out of a few on it, so it's already in profit. So I can get out of this and just call it a day, really. But I'm going to hold it. I think we'll probably get a further drop on this Aussie today. I'm looking to come down into that propulsion gap. And the Aussie US as well. Not quite a break even on it. Again, I've banked twice on it already. And I'm targeting this low, which is kind of that high, which is just before that propulsion gap, but it could go anywhere. That volume's really loud, isn't it? So yeah, that's the Aussie. We've got the PMIs this afternoon at 3 o'clock, half an hour after market open, along with jolts. So there will be some volatility half an hour after market open today as well for New York. So that's all the news we've got today. Right, okay, so ECB, they are now forecasting a cut in March. So that's possibly going to be the first to go, because we were looking at May for the US dollar to cut rates. So that is actually the first time I think the euro will have moved before the US with regards to interest rates. So that's interesting. We'll see what happens there. Further rate hikes are rather unlikely after the November inflation print. Soft data suggests the economy may be bottoming out. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So this is the RBA statement, which was the important thing about this morning's move on the Aussie. Inflation is moderating, which I think that means they're kind of saying it's flattening out, which we kind of know. That's the rate announcement there. So other than that, to say that, to state the obvious, basically, which is what the banks tend to do most of the time. So they've said inflation is not going up anymore. What I presume they mean by moderating is it's coming down at a decent rate. Moderating has nothing to do with that, is it, really? It's just a stupid word. Anyway, it's coming down. So they're not going to need to put their interest rates up, is kind of what they're saying there. Other than that, not a lot else. The CPI for the yen was negative. We had some strong moves on the yen yesterday. Let's not look at the Aussie because that won't give us any idea. Yeah, Japanese yen coming down this morning. Powering up this morning off the back of those inflation figures being lower than expected. The reason their CPI has the opposite effect to everybody else's. Normally, when we get a CPI drop, we get a currency drop. Reason for that is interest rates are high, and as interest rates get dropped because inflation comes down, currencies tend to weaken. The difference between the Japanese and everybody else is they have negative interest rates. So when their CPI comes down, it means that they can put their interest rate up, opposite. So that powers up the currency. So it's a little bit, basically everything in Japan works upside down. Bit like Australia. So there's your movements on that. We've got 3 minutes to the open. So that's this morning's news. Nothing particularly exciting in there apart from those. We had some more OPEC news last night on oil. Nothing exciting. So looking at the DAX at the moment, we are gap down today. Let's have a look at it over here. So we've got the gap to the downside down here to complete, which was from Thursday to Friday. Yesterday's gap we completed in the morning. We batted straight into that high, rejected it, tried again, and it's jumped back down again. So this looks like a very strong resistance, probably one of the strongest resistances we've had. We've tried to get through it 4 times and failed. The fact that we've gapped down, and it's a hell of a gap as well. If we rally this morning, it's an obvious retest that level. If it doesn't rally this morning, that gap might get left behind because this could be the peak formation high that we're putting in at the moment, and we're going to start that drop. So looking for at least a test of this propulsion gap and support, but that is your initial interim target before we get there, which is 150 ADR today. So there's a plenty of downside today. The US indices yesterday had a down day. First down day we've had for a while. Decent down day. S&P absolutely melted. NASDAQ absolutely melted. They're coming down hard this morning as well. So the market is starting to sell off. So we might be seeing that correction starting potentially. I would expect it at least to come and correct down to this balance here, which is only about a 4-day accumulation. But that would be kind of minimum I would expect on a pullback on the US indices. So we'll see. So the fact that we gapped down so hard this morning means that we might well just do a gap and go today and run. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. What's my risk? % good. Reduced risk on the DAX. I was being a bit aggressive with the DAX. I had a higher risk on it. Decided not to. Just play it the same as any other pair. Right, so there's all your news for the morning and what we've got coming up. I haven't banked anything yet today. There's your pre-market range. We've broken to the upside. So long the DAX, moving TP down under 2R, moving my TP down under that low, high rather. This is last week's high. Don't suspect we'll get there. Is there a stop loss there again? It's annoying. This is going to hedge immediately, isn't it? Big rejection on upside move there. Really get the sellers really on the ball this morning. So that really is all I want to go for upside today, if we can get there. But doesn't seem like the buyers are able to gather any momentum at the open just yet. We'll see if we get a little bit more of a rally. Morning, everybody else. I haven't said hello to. Morning, Sarah, XRUpdate.news, Neo, Leshy, Amy, Post, Rajiv, Mark, how we doing? Amar, Kennelly. Pound US dollar. We'll look at that in a sec. Just wait for the open to finish. We'll wait for the open to go in. In a sec. Okay, a bit stuck there, aren't we? Too many MT4s open. So I was just looking at the this account this morning. That stop loss didn't get removed on the DAX. It did on that account. It's definitely some kind of communication problem between something's stopping the EA halfway through its run there for some reason. Very weird. Okay, DAX putting back down now. Looks like this might want to go short. I'll come back to that in a minute. While we're waiting for that 5-minute initial cash balance candle to go in, we'll have a look at the FX side of things. Right, pound US dollar. We'll have a look at that to start with. Somebody's asked for that. So at the moment we are nowhere. We're going nowhere basically. We're stuck in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-day range at the moment. So we've got this balance here, which has acted as support multiple times, is exactly where we are now. We've obviously got an obvious range high at last month's high, which is a previous month's high as well. So at the minute, we're just flip-flopping around in there. No idea. US dollar moves, basically. We have got no news on the pound this week, apart from Bailey speaking tomorrow. There's no forecast news on the pound. PMIs for construction don't do anything. So we're waiting for US figures basically to drive either US up or down. So looking at PMI figures this afternoon, obviously we've got non-farm payroll on Friday, so the unemployment rate, which is going to drive the market up or down. So at the minute we're in a holding pattern waiting for the news release. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with the news on the US basically. But there's no entries on this at the moment. You may have got in on an H1 RSI extension maybe off of that there or there. Short, and if you did, you should be out. So you should be out of those. If you've got in on these H1 RSI extensions up here, you've had over an ADR movement. You should be gone. There's no reason to still be in this. An ADR profit is decent. Take it. What's your risk? Okay, so there's your 5-minute opening range. We have broken back out the highs of the pre-market range, but let's see. Can't do another update, surely. I'm just wondering whether we're going to get break and run again. Just this is the most convincing resistance we've had for a long time on the DAX after these massive rallies. Literally new higher highs, higher high, 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 high. We're just constantly making high highs. So if this does break through today, there's not really any upside target until we get to 150 ADR today. So just looking at those upside targets, that's your next resistance, which is 150 ADR. So if we do break to the upside today, it's 150 ADR either way today. So upside, you're looking at 150 to the upside resistance. Downside gap fill is 150 as well. So 150% of its average daily range in either direction is your next support resistance zones, apart from obviously yesterday's low. But and obviously yesterday's high. So look at the size of that range compared to every other day. It's highly unlikely that we will stay within that range. We'll break out one way or the other, but it's just whether or not it runs to the upside today. Seems to be quite a lot of resistance to go long, though. We will see. So yeah, that's pound US dollar. We'll have to wait and see. Waiting for news. Morning, Pot Gaiter. Aussie New Zealand 4-hour, then 15-minute reversal entry. Yeah, you should have, depending if you're using the EA, yeah, that will be getting you in, depending on what level you've set, but that will be getting you into a long. The Aussie dollar strength it will probably go on for a little bit. Maybe not, though, because it is an as expected result. So the interest rates haven't come down. The initial rate statement hasn't given any indication as to reducing rates in the future. All they're saying is that inflation is slowing a little. But their inflation, if you look at it, is still the second highest on the planet behind New Zealand. So Aussie and New Zealand are doing terrible. They went far too late, far too weak. They paused their rates way more than everybody else did, which put them behind. They had to accelerate their rate increases. So they're way behind inflation. So these will probably stay higher longer than everybody else's, which is inflationary for the currency. So although the New Zealand Aussie is coming down today, which is what you tend to get at the moment on negative interest rate, right, or as expected interest rate figures, it will probably be that sort of movement. So you shouldn't be really getting into too much trouble either direction. More likely, I mean, everything at the moment is a short because interest rates are just going to go down on everything. It's just a case of who is going to be the weaker and the faster at interest rate decline. That is the currency that's going to be the weakest. So if the US dollar come down in 0.25% increments every 2 months and the pound comes down in 0.25% increments every month, pound will weaken faster than the US. We have no clue as to what's going to happen with any of that next year at all. So none of this really is forecastable long term at the moment. We just have to look at support resistance and look for bounce points. So Aussie, New Zealand, you get in the next 15-minute reversal alert, which will be very tight, be down here. And it's at ADR. And if that one doesn't hold up, then you're going to be scaling in probably once, maybe twice, down to last month's low. Down here. So going long, target propulsion. That area there is probably the best target to the upside. I mean, it's a hell of a target. That, I mean, I'd be targeting those highs, that area there. But yeah, just scale in on the way down and then get out on that propulsion gap. Because if this drops from here, that propulsion gap is going to be left intact. So in target, 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 and wait for it to get back up to that propulsion. So retesting that area there. Okay, DAX made a new high, higher low. So we are bullish still. See where we go from here. US indices really rallying at the moment. So NASDAQ, nice big 10-minute rally. Same on the S&P and the same on the Dow. So all the markets rallying at the moment. So it's all going the right direction. Right. Just I win 83 pips and still hold my trade on the pound US dollar. Up to you, Amar. If you're position trading, you should be out. If you're not position trading, do what you like. But if you've got in up here somewhere, I mean, look at what's happened in the past. Yeah, we basically rallied up. We put in an accumulation. We had a propulsion gap break. Yeah, we tested that area and bounced. We tested it. We bounced. We tested it. We bounced. We tested it. We bounced. We're testing it right now. Do you think it's going to bounce or do you think it's going to drop? The odds are 50-50. Yeah, the odds are 50-50. I have no idea. All I can do is say for the last 4 times that's hit that level, it's gone back up there. If you've got 83 pips on the table, would you like to spend it or potentially take a break even on it? You got money, take it. It's your job, banking money. Not trying to get the longest run possible. Everybody's after that, oh, I caught the top of that move and I got it all the way back down to there. No. You got the top of that move. Oof, bank some money. It's a hard job. Getting things into profit is difficult. When you get them into profit, bank it. It's your job. Right, let's look at the ADRs while we're waiting for the DAX to figure out what the hell it's doing. Aussie dollar Swiss. So all these Aussie, so basically every single ADR today is Aussie dollar. Yeah. So it's Aussie Swiss. So it's the long Aussies and the short Aussies. Yeah. So Aussie dollar Swiss ADR hit to the downside, bounced straight off. We are coming back up to potential resistance at that support. So potentially this could be a bounce point that we're coming up to now. So Aussie Swiss, 5 minute, your reversal alert, not going to get it because that was the last move up before the news. So again, same as yesterday, we had news events causing ADRs. You can't get into them with a reversal alert. If you're going to get into them, you have to take price action. A lot harder to do, obviously, because it's messy. But that's your reversal alert there, basically. So you wouldn't have got into that one. Aussie dollar yen come down to 150 ADR. You're about to get a reversal alert on that. So that was the initial news. We haven't had a reversal alert on it. So this is your first reversal alert of the day down here. It is starting to stall out. So potentially we're putting in a reversal down here. You're looking to target that propulsion gap. So just to push back into the news and then back down again. Aussie New Zealand. So that one's obviously out the lows. We just hit ADR, so that's your first reversal alert on that one. Again, you'd be looking, once you get the reversal alert, back up into propulsion. Euro odd. That one's already had the reversal alert. It's already playing out. So there's your hit to 125 ADR. We actually hit 150. So that was your reversal alert. You're in. That's just retesting propulsion and support now. So this could be the end of that move. So just be careful with this one if you're short. Euro up to today. Weak Swiss franc today. Looks weak overall. So yeah, I mean, if this Australian dollar move continues weak, you've got weak euro and weak Aussie, you're probably going to do something like that. So may not go anywhere further than that for a while. Pound odd, again, same sort of thing. It's just a very ugly reversal alert. These ones where they're really long like this, they're not very good reversal alerts because it's basically a rally and an accumulation, or a rally and in this case a flag, which is both of those are bullish. So looks like potentially more Aussie dollar weakness coming through. So but all of them look for confluence. So you've got confluence at resistance there. That's a hell of a move, look. 150 ADR. Easily pull back a lot further on that. Could even come back and retest the origin and put an A-shaped recovery in. You know, that sort of movement where we just basically undo the whole lot. Which is what we seem to be doing an awful lot at the moment. So, but that's nicely extended to the upside. ADRs today, all most of them are Aussie dollar based. DAX is really running out of steam at the moment. It's just stuck up here. So Aussie dollar Swiss, that is an H1 RSI extension to the downside. Didn't quite get an entry on that one, mainly because there's been no reversal alert, so no entry long on that on the hourly. Wasn't quite extended, just about extended enough. It's extended on the 4 hour as well. We've got quite a nice support coming up here at this level. So this is a previous monthly low and low from 3 weeks ago. And that's basically where we've tapped into. So potentially pushing back up into that propulsion gap. Aussie dollar yen, nice big drop on that one. We've got a nice support resistance coming up in that area there, which is 200 ADR. So if this continues to come down, we're looking for a bounce out of that. Overall, though, I'd be looking for shorts against everything against the yen at the moment. I think the yen's topped out. So that's an H1 RSI extension. So very nicely extended down below the 20 level. I'm not taking any yens at the moment personally, but I don't see a problem with taking that. I'd look to get out on that propulsion gap. And Aussie US. Excuse me. It extended to the downside on the hourly, just down to the 30, not to the 25. So not quite far enough for me. I am short on this still. Already banked twice on it. So it doesn't really owe me anything. If it gets down below break even or down into this area, 125, 150 ADR today, I should be taking it all off down there. But it is extended. If it can get down to here, that'll be a lovely long. So when I get out of those shorts, very easy to flip long, come back up and test that propulsion gap. We'll look for a 50% retracement on that move to continue down. Euro Swiss is extended on the 4 hour. DAX is rallying. We're approaching the gap. We're on our way. We're 1R, so we're on our way to the gap fill, basically. Euro Swiss. So this one, I got out of this one yesterday. The euro obviously had really bad CPI figures. Not really bad CPI figures, but negative CPI, worse than expected CPI, or better than expected. It's a difficult one to terminalize. Terminalize? Is that even a word? Use terminology for. Because obviously, better than expected CPI figures is when CPI drops. So the CPI is better for everybody when it drops, but worse for the currency. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, that one. But I got out on that move yesterday. I had an aggressive drawdown control position off of this support. So I exited it because I didn't want to be long on the euro. It was the right decision yesterday. We are holding down there at the moment. Nice hammer going in at the minute. This area obviously is your previous monthly low. This area is the previous support. So we are sitting at this support at the moment. We've bought it up 3 times towards the end of last week. We bought it up again, then we bought it up again. Now we are buying it up again. So this area seems to be holding at the moment. So we'd be looking for a pullback into this move of some degree, probably into propulsion. The danger with this one is because we've had negative figures, is that we could just sit and accumulate in this propulsion gap and then put a new leg to the downside in. So it is extended, but as you can see, it's kind of holding down here at the moment. There is a lot of reasons to sell this euro at the minute. So, oh, you git. Just missed my TP let. Just moving, just in case we double top that, I'm just moving my TP down ever so slightly. I don't like that move at all. It's good, obviously, it's in the right direction, but that was a big order that came in and got squashed at the highs. I'm just going to take that one off and break even on the second. I don't like this here. I just don't like this resistance. We just cannot get through this level. There is a massive iceberg order sitting at that level. We know that because it's been hitting it for 2 days and it hasn't got through it. So we rallied really, really strong. Remember I said about rallies. When rallies come to an end, when you got a massive move like we've had on the indices and they come to an end, they tend to end with a flush out the highs and then a rejection. Yeah, we had a massive rally on Friday into that high, and then we stopped. We came back up into it, and then we gapped down. Yeah, we came up, we tried to test it, we broke it, tested it, tested it, tested it, gapped down, testing it. This is really strong. There is an institution or a number of institutions sitting at the 16,450 level. This is 16,450 basically, selling it. And what I don't want to do is just turn this into a hedge unnecessarily. I'd rather not be in it. and work on this afternoon. So I'm just going to exit this morning and just basically take a chance. Whoops. On being right at that being a resistance bounce. If it goes up, it goes up. That's fine. I've still got one position on it. If it stops me out break even, fine. I'll just take $100 or something out of it this morning. But I just don't like the price action there. That moved very, very quick. I caught it out of the corner of my eye. There's a big order came in and immediately got slammed back, straight back down again, because there are orders sitting here waiting to go short. So whatever the size of that order was to make that move didn't succeed in any way, shape or form. And if that person or that institution that placed that order goes, screw this, we're not getting through, they're going to flip short. And if they flip short with the guys that started that move back down again, this is just going to flush really quickly. So I just don't want to be in it if it's going to flush quickly. There's no point in going into a hedge and having to manage it all morning. If I can just bank $100 and go, right, screw it, let's look at this afternoon. So, but that's my thoughts on it. Do what you like. If you're auto trading with the EA, it will do exactly what it likes. So Euro Swiss long opportunity and Euro Pound long opportunity as well. So that's 4-hour RSI extension, but that has been extended and embedded now all week. Well, I say all week, we're only on Tuesday, but we got down extended below the 4-hour 30 level on the RSI a week ago, and it did nothing but sell off. Obviously, this is where we got the Euro announcement on the CPI, and or was it there? One of those two levels. And it just melted. So there is a pullback on this one up to either that level there, somewhere around there, or all the way back up into where that origin of that move was. So you're looking at a very decent 200 ADR move up from where we are at the moment, potentially on a pullback. But we're going to need something from the euro positive. Lagarde had an opportunity yesterday to say something positive. She decided not to. So it does look as if they really want to get this interest rate coming down as fast as possible, because inflation is coming down a little bit too quick for their liking at the moment. 2% is the target. It came down by 0.5% quarter on quarter. If we get the same again, they're going to be below that inflation target, which is disinflation, which is very bad for an economy. So they need to start thinking about moving this down fast. So this euro, I don't think is going to hold up. It's going to take something pretty good figures-wise for that to drop, to rally. If we get any kind of positive news out of Bailey, I think it's going to be through the floor, isn't it? So when you get an embedded RSI like that, it's the first signs of there's something fundamentally shifting in the bias of this currency. We've put an inside bar in on the DAX. So that candle, we are inside bar. Buyers and sellers, no winners. At the moment, we're sitting inside bar on the inside bar, which is a 2 inside bar, which is basically a contraction symmetrical triangle on a lower time frame, which will form usually an aggressive break. We've got 4 minutes left on this candle yet, though, so this could obviously go anywhere. But tricky one this morning. Very tricky. Right, so that's all your FX pairs done. I haven't got a lot of exposure on at the moment, and as you can see from the RSIs, I haven't really got a lot that I can get into at the moment. There hasn't been any H1 RSI extensions for a while, decent ones anyway. So sitting on 3.7% for the month, 1.4% in drawdown. Aussie CAD I can get out of now flat, which has already paid me anyway. And I've got the Aussie US. So I'm going to hold on to these two today and just see if we can get any further movements down on these Aussies. Aussie CAD's got plenty of room, hasn't even got ADR yet. And Aussie US has still got room as well. We haven't hit ADR on this one yet either. And this afternoon, we've got the services PMIs for the US. So if we get positive figures on the PMIs this afternoon, That's going to rally the US dollar and the Canadian dollar, and they will both go down, and we'll probably have those targets hit. So those will probably get out this afternoon on a profit if we get positive PMIs. If we get negative PMIs, obviously I'm going to go back into drawdown, and then I'll add those positions back on again. And the only other two I've got on at the moment is US dollar Swiss, which again, if we get positive news this afternoon, that'll probably be exit. And then Euro CAD. Euro, I'm longing against the CAD. So if we get positive news on the US, that's going to go further into drawdown. So this is the main thing I've got to kind of concentrate on managing at the moment, this Euro. I'm really wrong-sided on this one. It's really easy to get out of. Literally, I need an ADR. I just leaned an ADR move. So negative CAD news would be lovely. If oil collapses, I'll be fine, which would be lovely, but it's not at the moment. It's more likely to rally. But yeah, so that's all I've got on at the moment. As I said yesterday, I'm looking to get flat, really, as soon as I can. Out the DAX. So just taking that $120 this morning. I'm not convinced this has got the legs to go long today. With gap fills, obviously that is where we closed out yesterday. But when we get into the low before the close on a gap, anywhere in this area, I kind of consider that gap filled. It doesn't have to get back to that level. It has to get back to somewhere around that level to fill the gap, as far as I'm concerned, because I've seen it so many times not do the gap fill and then leave it. Yeah, that one was a straight through, obviously, completely closed the gap. Doesn't always do that. So the fact that we had that big flush into there and swatted away just concerns me that we might not get any further than that today. And if that is going to be the high of the day, you're looking for 150 ADR to the downside, basically, to complete the downside gap, which is an absolute mile away. That's where we would be heading next. Obviously, it's unlikely it's just going to collapse straight down there today. We've got to get through there. We've got to get through there. But on its way, potentially. But equally, as we've seen with all indices, they seem to have some otherworldly strength at the moment. So this could just fly straight out those highs and go for it. Could go either way. Stalling out at the minute, so if in doubt, get out. Right, that's all I've got for this morning. Waiting to see what happens with everything else. So if you've got any other pairs to look at, let me know. Bitcoin is consolidating. Don't trade that. Don't trade fake stuff. Let the Bitcoin commence. What happened to gold yesterday in the end? Blimey. So gold yesterday, we put in 1,263 pips. ADR on this is now 319. Yesterday it was 200 and something. So that was over 500 ADR yesterday on that gold move. And there is no explanation for that. There's nothing come out in any news or anything that would say why that gold moved. That was just nuts, that move. We had good fun with it yesterday morning. Some cleaner pressing a button in the bank by accident on the keyboard. No idea. Just bizarre. That could well be the end of the rally as well on gold. But it's going to take the US dollar to power up, and I don't think that's coming either. So very odd move, that. Very odd. Anyway. Right. That's all I've got for you this morning. There's nothing much else to look at today. As I said, because the RSIs are flat, pretty much. We haven't got a lot of movement up or down. We've got some ADRs, which are opportunities to get in on reversals on these Aussies. But other than that, it's just a case of waiting, basically, for something to set up or for some news to move the market, which basically possibly could happen this afternoon. So I will be trading the US indices this afternoon. Obviously, we've got half an hour before news after the market opens. So hopefully we can get some rallies out of the open, but we'll see what happens. Good day yesterday across the board. 4 out of 4 yesterday. So yeah, really nice runs yesterday. But markets, it feels like we're getting a little slower. Well, I feel like I'm getting a little slower. Just the fact that I'm not getting a lot of risk on and nothing is really going into squeezes or anything. It just seems like the market's going like that and we're ready for Christmas now. So a little bit early, but every year is different. So we'll see. It doesn't look like we're getting that Santa rally at the moment, especially after yesterday. First down day for a while. So in this entire run for the whole month, we've had 2... well, I wouldn't even call those down days. So we've had 3 spinning tops, stroke dojis, which is neither bullish nor bearish. We've had 1 down day, and that's a hammer. That's not even bearish, is it, yesterday? So, you know, we've had 2 down days in, what, 26 days now? 28 days if you count those 2 from last month. So, yeah, absolutely. These things could Santa rally, but after a move like that, you've just got to say he's got to pull back, isn't it? So exhausted. NASDAQ's certainly starting to do that, but everything else, not interested. We're off. Look at that DAX. Literally 2 red candles. Nuts, isn't it? Not seen the DAX do that for a long, long time. So we are certainly in pullback territory, which is why I'm out this morning. Much rather hit the short button than the long. Anyway, we'll see what happens to that. We'll have a look at that this afternoon in the New York session and see where we've gone on the DAX. But yeah, it looks like a gap fill back the other way today for me. All right, have a good morning. Anything else you need, I'll be in Telegram. Other than that, not a lot else to discuss. So I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50, same time for Frankfurt. Trade the DAX again, and back tomorrow this afternoon at 2:20 for New York. So I will see you in the next session. Have a good day.